ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोन् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So we will continue from sloka 40 of this 13th chapter. Damstragra kotya bhagavam stvaya dhruta विराजते भूधर भूसभूद भूधरा यथा वसन् यथा वनान्निः तथा धृता मतन् गजेन्द्रस्य सपत्रपद्मिनी. Okay. O lifter of the earth with its mountains, which you have lifted with your tusk, is situated as beautifully as a lotus flower with leaves sustained by an infuriated elephant just coming out of the water. Purport. The fortune of the earth planet is praised because of its being specifically sustained by the Lord. Its beauty is appreciated and compared to that of a lotus flower situated on the trunk of an elephant. As a lotus flower with its leaves is very beautifully situated, so the world with its many beautiful mountains appeared on the tusk of the Lord boar. Text 41. Um, त्रयीमयं रूप इदं च सौकरं भूमण्डलेनाथ दधा धृतेन ते चकासति शृङ्ग शृङ्गोड्डगनेन भूयसा कुला कुलाचलेन्द्रस्य यथैव विभ्रमः. O Lord, as the peaks of great mountains become beautiful when decorated with clouds, your transcendental body has become beautiful because of your lifting the earth on the edge of your tusks. Purport. The word Vibhramaha is significant. Vibhramaha means illusion as well as beauty. When a cloud rests on the peak of a great mountain, it appears to be sustained by the mountain, and at the same time, it looks very beautiful. Similarly, the Lord has no need to sustain the earth on his tusk, but when he does so, the world becomes beautiful, just as the Lord becomes more beautiful because of his pure devotees on the earth. Although the Lord is the transcendental personification of the Vedic hymns, he has become more beautiful because of his appearance to sustain the earth. Text 42. समस्तापयैनां समस्यापयैनां जगतां स तस्तुसां लोकाय पत्नीम् असिमातरं पिता विधेम चास्यै नमसा सह त्वया यस्यां स्वतेजोऽग्निम् इवारणावदाः. O Lord, for the residential purposes of all inhabitants, both moving and non moving, this earth is your wife, and you are the Supreme Father. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you, along with Mother Earth, in whom you have invested your own potency, just as an expert sacrificer puts fire in the Arni wood. So, report. The so-called law of gravitation, which sustains the planet, is described herein as the potency of the Lord. This potency is invested by the Lord in the way that an expert sacrificial Brahmana puts fire in Arni wood by the potency of Vedic mantras. By this arrangement, the world becomes inhabitable for both the moving and non-moving creatures. The conditioned souls who are residents of the material world are put in the womb of Mother Earth in the same way the seed of a child is put by the father in the womb of the mother. This conception of Lord and the earth as father and mother is explained in Bhagavad Gita 14:4. Conditioned souls are devoted to the motherland in which they take their birth, but they do not know their father. The mother is not independent in producing children. Similarly, material nature cannot produce living creatures unless in contact with the Supreme Father, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us to offer obeisances unto the Mother along with the Father, the Supreme Lord, because it is the Father only who impregnates the Mother with all energies for sustenance and maintenance of all living beings, both moving and non moving. Text 43. Kashraddha dhithan yatam mastva यतमस्तव प्रभो रसां गताया भुव उद्विबर्हणम् न विस्मयोऽसौ त्वयि विश्वविस्मये यो माययेदं ससृजेति विस्मयम्. Who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water? It is not very wonderful for you, however, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe. By your energy, you have created this wonderful cosmic manifestation. Purport. When a scientist discovers something impressive to the ignorant mass of people, the common man without inquiry accepts such a discovery as wonderful. But the intelligent man is not struck with wonder by such discoveries. He gives all credit to the person who created the wonderful brain of the scientist. A common man is also struck with wonder by the wonderful action of material nature, and he gives all credit to the cosmic manifestation. So this is the this one of Shaktas, like the worshippers of Durga. They are called Shaktas. So Shaktas, why do they worship Durga? Because they see that material nature is so wonderful. Material nature is producing many things. So an intelligent person, he understands that behind the material nature there is Supreme Lord. So there is then the Lord has to be what is that? The Lord has to be given the credit to for all the creation, not just the material nature. The learned Krishna conscious person, however, knows well that behind the cosmic manifestation is the brain of Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. So the Prakriti or material nature is functioning on the instruction or on the control of the Lord. So since Krishna can direct wonderful cosmic manifestation, it is not at all wonderful for him to assume the gigantic form of a boar and thus deliver the earth from the mire of water. A devotee is therefore not astonished to see the wonderful boar because he knows that the Lord is able to act far more wonderfully by his potencies, which are inconceivable to the brain of even the most erudite scientist. So the glorification is like, no, you have done something really very wonderful, but it is not very wonderful for you. You are capable of doing much more things. No, you have done something wonderful for us, but it is not wonderful for you. It is like, no, according to your capacity, it is nothing actually, like that. Text 44. Vidun vatha vedamayam nijam vapur janas tapas satya nivasino vayam सठा शिखो शिखोदुत्त शिवाम्बु बिन्दुभिर् विमृज्यमाना वृषमीशपाविताः. O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Jana, Tapa, and Satya Lokas, but still we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hairs by the shaking of your body. Purport. Ordinarily, a body of a hog is considered impure, but one should not consider that the hog incarnation assumed by the Lord is also impure. The form of the Lord is the personified Vedas and is transcendental. The inhabitants of the Jana, Tapa, and Satya Lokas are the most pious persons in the material world. But because those planets are situated in the material world, there are so many material impurities there also. Therefore, when the drops of water from the tips of the Lord's shoulder hairs were sprinkled upon the bodies of the inhabitants of higher planets, they felt purified. The Ganges water is pure because of its emanating from the toe of the Lord, and there is no difference between the water emanating from the toe and that from the tip of the hair on the shoulder of the Lord bore. They are both absolute and transcendental. Okay. So it's anything that is in contact with the Lord. No, the Lord is pure. Anything that is in contact with the Lord is also pure, and that has the capacity to purify. No, like everyone. And here, the water droplets from the body of the Lord Varaha is compared to Mother Ganges. No, so both are the same, because Ganges coming from the lotus feet of the Lord, and here the water droplets from the body of the Lord. So both are of same value. Okay. Savai bhata varshata matis tavaishate yakkarmananam param apara karmanah yadyogamaya gunayoha mohitam vishwam samastam bhagavan videhi sma. Sorry, videhi sam. Okay. Oh Lord, there is no limit to your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limit of your activities is certainly nonsensical. Mm. Everyone in this world is conditioned by the powerful mystic potencies. Please bestow your costless mercy upon these conditioned souls. So here, a nice point that like anybody who's trying to understand the limit of the Lord's activities, no, they are certainly nonsensical, because it is not sensible job that they are trying to do. So the sensible job, because why it is not sensible? Because he is unlimited. No, if we try to find unlimited limit of the unlimited, then that is nonsensical. So unlimited is unlimited. you know, so like that. Purport: mental speculators who want to understand the limit of the unlimited are certainly nonsensical. Every one of them is captivated by the external potencies of the Lord. The best thing for them is to surrender unto Him, knowing Him to be inconceivable, for thus they can receive His costless mercy. This prayer was offered by the inhabitants of higher planetary system, namely Jana, Thapo, and Satyaloka, who are far more intelligent and powerful than humans. Vishwam Samastam is very significant here. There are the material world and spiritual world. The sages pray, both worlds are bewildered by your different energies. Those who are in the spiritual world are absorbed in your loving service, forgetting themselves, and you also. And those in the material world are absorbed in the material sense gratification and therefore also forget you. So no one can know you because you are unlimited. So in the spiritual world, no, Mother Yashoda thinks this is my small child. That's all. No, she cannot know the extent of Krishna's glories. And no, here it's mentioned that material world, though, nobody knows the extent of like Lord's glories. So in this way, like nobody knows the extent of Lord's glories. It's unlimited. Often we have taken this example that if there is a great reservoir of water, so like how much we can take is maybe 1 2 3 liters of water, and that's all we can actually take the water in the same way. The Lord is unlimited and our capacity is like 1 liter 2 liter only. If that much, if we understand that is full, we will not be able to understand further. So that is how much we can understand. So like that. Hmm. Okay, so forgetting themselves and use. Okay, no one can know you because you are unlimited. It is best not to try to know you by unnecessary mental speculation. Rather, kindly bless us so that we can worship you with costless devotional service. So it is nobody should try to know the Lord. No, it is this point should not be noted like that. It should be like we should try to understand the Lord, but we should try to surrender unto Him. No, we should not try to experiment the limit of the Lord. No, that is not very nice. So we should try to surrender unto the Lord. It takes 46. Maitreya Vacha iti upasti yamanosau munibir brahmavadibihi salilesva kurakranta upa datta vitat vitavanim. Okay. The sage Maitreya said, "The Lord, being thus worshipped by all the great sages and transcendentalists, touched the earth with his hoofs and placed it on the water." Purport. The earth was placed on the water by his inconceivable potency. The Lord is all powerful, and therefore he can sustain the huge planets either on the water or in the air as he likes. The tiny human brain cannot conceive how these potencies of the Lord can act. Man can give some vague explanations of the laws by which such phenomena are made possible, but actually, the tiny human brain is unable to conceive of the activities of the Lord, which are therefore called inconceivable. Yet the frog philosophers still try to give some imaginary explanation. So here we see that no, the earth was submerged in the water, and the Lord, by his potency, has placed the earth on the water. No, the earth is floating on the water, you know. And here Prabhupada is telling that these mental speculators, they will give some logic. Okay, because of this energy, because of that phenomena, and no, this is floating. They can keep giving different logics, no, but then it is all the phenomena is created by the Lord, no. So it is they may just come up with some law of gravitation, some laws and here and there, but who has created that law? No, that is inconceivable, no. And here it is mentioned, yet the frog philosophers still try to give some imaginary explanation. So frog philosophers know the this frog, no, it's a symbolism, is a frog philosopher matlab. So a frog in the well, it is trying to explore the rest of the world, based on the calculation of the size of the well. And in that way, like, is he'll give imaginary explanation about everything. Anything in this world you say, like, it is so wonderful, the Lord has created, he will say, like, no, I'll give some explanation for that. Material explanation. So he'll keep giving explanations for everything. Text 47. Sa ittam bhagavan urbim vishwakshena prajapatihi rasaya lila yonitam apsu nyasya yayau harihi. In this manner, in the personality of Godhead Lord Vishnu, the maintainer of all living entities, raised the earth from within the water, and having placed it afloat on the water, he returned to his own abode. Purport. The personality of Godhead Lord Vishnu descends by his will to the material planets and in his innumerable incarnations for particular purposes. And again he goes back to his own abode. When he descends, he is called an avatar, because avatar means one who descends. Neither the Lord himself nor his specific devotees who come to this earth are ordinary living entities like us. So they are coming down so to perform some pastimes and activities. So that is why they are called as avatar. उतार के आने आना है तो ऐसा अवतार. ठीक है. टेक्स्ट 48. य एवं एथाम हरिमेधसो हरे कथां सुभद्रां कथनीय मायिनः शृण्वीत भक्त्या श्रवयेत वोषथिं जनार्दनोऽस्याव हृदि प्रसादित prasidati. Okay. If one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Bore, which is wonderful, which is worthy description, the Lord who is within the heart of everyone is very pleased. So by hearing and by explaining, the Lord becomes pleased if we hear about this particular pastime. Purport. In his various incarnations, the Lord appears, acts, and leaves behind him a narrative history which is as transcendental as he himself. Every one of us is fond of hearing some wonderful narrations, but most stories are neither auspicious nor worthy hearing because they are of inferior quality of material nature. Every living entity is of superior quality, spirit, soul, and nothing material can be auspicious for him. Intelligent persons should therefore hear personally and cause others to hear the descriptive narrations of Lord's activities, for that will destroy the pangs of material existence. Out of his causeless mercy only, the Lord comes to this earth and leaves behind his merciful activities so that the devotees may derive transcendental benefit. Right? So it is mentioned, Yat Sangalabda Nija Virya Vaibhavam Tirtam Muhus Samsprashatam Himanasam Haratya Jonta Shrutabir Gathongajam Kovaina Seveta Mukunda Vikramam. So it is mentioning in the shloka that no, when we hear about the narrations of the Lord, no Nija Virya Vaibhavam, no, it is very, very potent, no, those descriptions about the Lord is, and then it can offer us a direct association with the Supreme Lord. No, that is how powerful is the descriptions of the Lord. So when the Lord comes and does something, it becomes a history. And that history is as powerful as the Lord Himself. So the glories of the Lord, or narrations about the Lord, is as powerful as the Lord Himself. And hearing about them, now we will become benefited and purified. Text 49. Tasmin prasanne sakala sham prabhu kim durlabam tabir alam lavatmabihi ananya drishtya bhajatam guhashayah swayam vidatte swagatim param. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. A very, very powerful statement. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. So only our only business is to please the Lord. Now, if we please the Lord, and there is nothing impossible in this world. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord Himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10:10, the Lord gives intelligence to the pure devotees so that they may be elevated to the highest perfectional stage. Dadami buddhi oham tam. It is confirmed herein that a pure devotee who constantly engages in devotional service or loving service of the Lord is awarded all knowledge necessary to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No, dadami buddhi oham tam. And also we have the shloka Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Asu Vairagam Jnanam Cha Ahetukam. So all the necessary knowledge is provided. Okay. So for such a devotee, there is nothing valuable to be achieved but the Lord's service. If one serves faithfully, there is no possibility of frustration because the Lord Himself takes charge of the devotee's advancement. The Lord is seated in everyone's heart and He knows the devotee's motive and arranges everything achievable. In other words, the pseudo devotee who is anxious to achieve material gains cannot attain the highest perfectional stage because the Lord is in knowledge of his motive. One merely has to become sincere in his purpose, and then the Lord is there to help in every way. So, like I kind of shared this thing, in few of my sessions. I don't know whether I shared here or not. So, Prabhupada in one lecture he was mentioning that if we go to the Lord, and ask for something, I want this, I want that. Lord is not order supplier. He is not bound to give us whatever we are asking for. But then if we sincerely try to please the Lord, for His pleasure, so then Lord will make all arrangements for us. That's the very wonderful aspect actually. So if we try to ask from the Lord, the Lord is this Lord's description is not order supplier. So etamam prapadante. Like if we demand from the Lord is like not very much interested to give things from to us. But if we sincerely serve Him, if we sincerely keep giving whatever is in our capacity, the Lord will keep giving whatever is there in His capacity. How much He can give. That is like unlimited. So in that way, like Prabhupada was mentioning, I was a poor man. I wanted to come here and preach the message of Krishna consciousness. I gave everything whichever was there in my possession, and I was fully engaged in the service. And Lord also gave barbar ke. Like He has given me all over the world. Now we have so much of properties, so much of preaching, so much of Lakshmi is there. All these things are there. It's because I unconditionally gave myself to the Lord, and then the Lord gave unconditionally. So many things He gave it to me. So like that Prabhupada was mentioning. So similar thing we can see here also, that the perfection is that like we offer sincere service for the pleasure of the Lord, and the Lord fulfills so many things. And if we demand from the Lord, He is not an order supplier. He is not going to give whatever we keep demanding. Okay, text 50. Ko naam aloke purushartha sar with saravid Pura kathanam bhagavat katha sudan apiya karnanjalabir bhavapaham aho virajeta vina naretaram. Who other than one who is not a human being can exist in this world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? No, Kovaina Seveta Mukunda Vikramam. There is another sloka that I was quoting. So in that also it was mentioned that who will not get attracted to the wonderful pastimes of Mukunda, right? So in the same way here also it is mentioned that who is that human being who exists in this world who's not interested in the ultimate goal of life, who can refuse the nectar of narrations about the personality of God, its activities, which by itself can deliver one from all material pangs. So this is the question that is put. It's like a sarcastic question that who's that great person like who doesn't like the Lord and who's not interested in the glories of the Lord. Right? Purport. The narrations of the activities of the personality of Godhead is like a constant flow of nectar. No one can refuse to drink such nectar except one who is not a human being. Devotional service to the Lord is the highest goal of life for every human being, and such devotional service begins by hearing about the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. So, this is the beginning point. No, Shravanam is the beginning point. So, when we hear about the Lord, so then our devotional service starts. It's like very strong statement, no? Only an animal or a man who's almost an animal in behavior can refuse to take an interest in hearing the transcendental message of the Lord. There are many books of stories and histories in the world, but except for the histories or narrations on topic of personality of Godhead, none are capable of diminishing the burden of material pangs. Therefore, one who is serious about eliminating material existence must chant and hear of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, one must be compared to the non-humans. Right? So, in this way, it is very, very strong. This one, if we are a human being, so then we must be interested in the glories of the Lord. So, like that. Hmm. And it's very nicely put that if we are serious about eliminating the material existence, then we must develop taste in chanting and hearing about the transcendental activities of the Lord. So we should be very enthusiastic to chant the names of the Lord and hear and relish the names of the Lord. So that is the only way of eliminating the material pangs of material existence. Okay, thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha. Okay, chapter 14, Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. So this is the source of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu's birth. कि श्रीशुक उवाच निशम्य कौशार कौशारविनोपवर्णितां हरे कथां कारण सुकरात्मन पुनः स पपृच्छ तम् उद्यताञ्जलिर्न चात्य तृप्तो विदुरो धृतव्रतः. Shukadev Goswami said, after hearing from the great sage Maitreya about the Lord's incarnation as Varaha, Vidura, who had taken a vow, begged him with folded hands to please narrate further transcendental activities of the Lord, since he, Vidura, did not yet feel satisfied. There's so much of details in the pastime was cut short. So then here Vidura is asking that, no, please tell me more. So Vidura Vacha Tenaiva tu Munishreshtha Harina Yagnamurtina Adi Daityo Hiranyaksho Hatha Iti Anushruma. Sri Vidura said, O chief amongst the great sages, I have heard by disciplic succession that Hiranyaksha, the original demon, was slain by the same form of sacrifices, the personality of Godhead, Lord Bore. Purport. As referred to previously, the boar incarnation was manifested in two millenniums, namely Swayambhuva and Chakshusha. In both millenniums, there were a boar incarnation of the Lord, but in Swayambhuva millennium, he lifted the earth from within the water of the universe, whereas in the Chakshusha millennium, he killed the first demon Hiranyaksha. In the Swayambhuva millennium, he assumed the color white, and in the Chakshusha millennium, he assumed the color red. So there is Svetavaraha and Raktavaraha, like that. So Vidura had already heard about one of them and he proposed to hear about the other. The two different Boar incarnations described are the one's supreme personality of Godhead. Text 3. Tasya chodhar ratha shaunim swa samshrishtar grine grina leelaya. So, Daitya Rajasya cha Badra Brahman Kasmad Dehetor Abun Mridah. What was the reason, O Brahmana, for the fight between the demon king and Lord Boar while the Lord was lifting the earth as his pastime? Shraddadhanaya Bhaktaya Bhuritat Janma Vistaram Rishena Tripyathi Manaha Param Kautuhalam Hime. So in the past, we saw that, in one of the shlokas, Vidura was telling, I have heard in the disciplic succession that Lord Boar fought with the this one Hiranyaksha and he killed him. No, please tell about that. This means he knows about this. It is not something new, but he is asking about it because it is giving him so much of this one. No, this is all the devotees. Like it is not that. Just like if somebody sees a film and they are like so much addicted to seeing films and things like that, so they'll keep on discussing the same subject. They both have seen the film, but still they'll keep on discussing, this that and things like that. So in the same way, those who are addicted to the Lord, they want to keep on discussing the pastimes of the Lord, keep on discussing the glories of the Lord, though it may already been known to them, right? So that is how this one is. They are addicted to the Lord, so they want to hear about the Lord. So it is like somebody is like addicted to drinking. It is not that he doesn't know the taste of it. He knows the taste of it, still he goes and drinks. Same way, like this somebody who's addicted to the Lord, he knows the pastimes, but still he hears. Because it purifies and it gives so much of satisfaction to hear about the Lord, right? So here he is telling, na tripyati, no, I am still not satisfied, no, and param kautuhalam he may, like, if you explain this, it will be very nice, no, it will be very, this one. Okay. My mind has become very inquisitive, and therefore I am not satisfied with hearing the narrations of Lord's appearance. Please, therefore, speak more and more to a devotee who is faithful. Purport. One who is actually faithful and inquisitive is qualified to hear the transcendental pastimes of the appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vidura was a suitable candidate to receive such transcendental messages. Text 5. Maitreya Uvacha Sadhu Vira Tvaya Prishtam Avatara Katham Harehe Yatvam Prachasi Martyanam Mrityupasha Vishatadim. The great sage Maitreya said, O warrior, the inquiry made by you is just befitting a devotee because it concerns the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. He is the source of liberation from the chain of birth and death for all those who are otherwise destined to die. Okay. So purport. The great sage Maitreya addressed Vidura as a warrior not only because like Vidura belonged to the Kuru family, but because he was anxious to hear about the chivalrous activities of the Lord in his incarnation as of Varaha and Narsimha. Because the inquiries concerned the Lord, they were perfectly befitting a devotee. A devotee has no taste for hearing anything mundane. There are many topics of mundane warfare, but a devotee is not inclined to hear them. The topics of warfare in which the Lord engages do not concern the war of death, but the war against the chain of Maya, which obliges one to accept repeated birth and death. In other words, one who takes delight in hearing the war topics of the Lord is relieved from the chain of birth and death. So, foolish people are suspicious of Krishna's taking part in the battle of Kurukshetra, not knowing that his taking part ensures liberation for all who were present on the battlefield. It is said by Bhishma Dev that all who were present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original spiritual existence after death. Therefore, hearing the war topics of the Lord is as good as any other devotional service. So sometimes people, when they are reading stories of the Lord, to the children, they think that if we like, read out this fighting pastimes of Krishna, the child will pick up all those qualities and he will also become very naughty, and he will also like act as if fighting and things like that. So but the thing is, we should not restrict like that. We should expose every aspect of the Krishna consciousness to the children, and in that way, like, they will become purified very quickly. And if they have the propensity to fight, they may get attracted based on their past samskara. If they have propensity to fight, they will get attracted to the fighting pastimes of the Lord, and because they are attracted to the Lord in that way, they will become purified. Okay, text 6. Yayothana pada putro muninam gita yarbakah mrityo kritva vaiva murdani angrim aruroha hare padam. Okay. By hearing these topics from the sage Narada, the son of King Uttanapad, Dhruva, was enlightened regarding the personality of Godhead, and he ascended to the abode of the Lord, placing his feet over the head of death. Purport. While quitting his body, Maharaj Dhruva, the son of King Uttanapad, was attended by personalities like Sunanda and others who received him in the kingdom of God. He left this world at an early age as a young boy, although he had attained the throne of his father and had several children of his own. Because he was due to quit this world, death was awaiting for him. He did not care for the death, however, and even with his present body, he boarded a spiritual airplane and went directly to the planet of Vishnu because of his association with great sage Narada, who had spoken to him the narration of the pastimes of the Lord. So this is a very, very powerful this evidence. Here we see that this Dhruva, he heard about the pastimes of the Lord, and he was like fully surcharged, and he was fully purified in his consciousness. And death, when the death is supposed to happen, the death is awaiting, and the death is not able to act upon Dhruva, because he become immune to death. And death is, what is the meaning of death? The death actually severs our body, our material body, and then it removes the soul, and then the soul has to continue to some other body, some other destination. And here we see that Dhruva Maharaj, he boarded the Vaikuntha airplane in his self same body. In the same body, he went back to the spiritual world. So somebody may ask, okay, this is a material body, and in spiritual world, how can there be any existence of matter? So Prabhupada many times explains this concept that for an electrician, the electricity can be used for heating or for cooling. So in the same way, material energy is Krishna's energy, and spiritual energy also Krishna's energy. If he wants, he can make the material energy act like spiritual energy. It is not a big deal for him. So he can actually transform that. So we'll see in Bhagavatam many devotees going back with their own bodies. They're not having to give up their body and then go back. Sometimes the devotees give up the body and go, and sometimes they go with the same body. So it doesn't matter. So anyway, like there, the spiritual body has to develop. So this this body itself is spiritualized, and then Lord transforms this body into spiritual body, and then they go and settle there, no problem, right? So death came. He just put his feet on the head of the death, and he boarded the Vaikuntha airplane. That's how Dhruva Maharaj ascends. This is the glory of hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Text 7. Ata atarapi hit atarapi tihasoyam shruto me varnita pura brahmana deva devena devana manuprachatam. This history of the fight between the Lord as a boar and the demon Hiranyaksha was heard by me in a year long ago, as it was described by heard by me in a year long ago, as it was described by the foremost of the demigods, Brahma, when he was questioned by other demigods. So this is directly Lord Brahma was speaking about this, and Maitreya heard directly from Lord Brahma. So he's giving his pramana, he's not speculating. He's telling that, no, I've heard from authorities. No, that's what I'm telling you. Ditir Dakshayani Kshattar Maricham Kashyapam Patim Apatya Kama Chakame Sandhyayam Chayarditha. Diti, daughter of Daksha, that's why she is called as Dakshayini. So Dakshayini means no, daughter of Daksha. So Diti, daughter of Daksha, being afflicted with sex desire, begged her husband Kashyapa, the son of Marichi, to have intercourse with her in the evening in order to beget a child. So this is a very wrong time to unite the Sandhya Kal. No, that is not a very right time to unite. So it is mentioned that Lord Shiva will be like roaming around with his Bhuta Ganas, and if somebody unites at that time, only Bhuta Preta will get his will come in the family. Text 9. Ishtvagni Jivam Payasa Purusham Yajusham Patim Nimlochatyak Arka Asinam um, Agnya Ajnagare Samahitam. The sun was setting and the sage was sitting in trance after offering oblations to the Supreme Personality of God and Vishnu, whose tongue is the sacrificial fire. Purport: fire is considered to be the tongue of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, and oblations of grains and clarified butter offered on the fire are thus accepted by him. That is the principle of all sacrifices, of which Lord Vishnu is the master. In other words, the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu includes the satisfaction of all demigods and all other living beings. So here, like this person, like Kashyapa, he is offered his oblations. So this is a very usual thing, like in a Brahmana's home at that point in time, like morning, afternoon, evening, like they would offer oblations to the fire. That's a sacrifice that is like regularly on a nitya seva, like it keeps going on in their homes. So that's how the Brahmanas' homes, like where it is. Krishna mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahmana or like person who doesn't light fire, for the sacrifice, he is not considered to be very great. So he has to like in that here now we have the chanting of the names of the Lord. So we should try to chant like all the time. Either we should try to chant or read some scriptures or like sing some bhajans and things like that. So it's very nice, or do some preaching program or something like that. So in that way, like we are doing some sacrifice for the Lord, and it should be done all the time, and especially Sandhya Kal. So that's why Sandhya Arti we have. Now Sandhya Kal is very inauspicious. So that is why like we should have nice Arti Kirtan Bhajan at that point in time. So all Sandhis are inauspicious, like that. Okay, text 10. Ditiruvacha Yesha Mam Tvat Krite Vidvan Kama At Atta Sharasanah Dunoti Dhinam Vikramya Rambham Iva Matangajah. In the place, in that place, the beautiful Diti expressed her desire. O learned one, Cupid is taking his arrows and distressing me forcibly, as a mad elephant troubles a banana tree. Purport: beautiful Diti, seeing her husband absorbed in trance, began to speak loudly, not attempting to attract him by bodily expressions. She frankly said that her whole body was distressed by sex desire because of her husband's presence, just as a banana tree is troubled by a mad elephant. It was not natural for her to agitate her husband when he was in trance, but she could not control her strong sexual appetite. Her sex desire was like a mad elephant, and therefore it was the prime duty of her husband to give her all protection by fulfilling her desire. Text 11. Tad bhavan daya manayam sapatninam samruddhibihi prajavatinam badram the maya mayayungtam anugraham. Therefore, you should be kind towards me by showing me complete mercy. I desire to have sons, and I am much distressed by seeing the opulence of my co wives. By performing this act, you will become happy. Purport: in Bhagavad Gita, the sexual intercourse for begetting children is accepted as righteous. A person sexually inclined for simple sense gratification, however, is unrighteous. In Diti's appeal to her husband for sex, it was not exactly the that she was afflicted by sex desires, but she desired sons. Since she had no sons, she felt poorer than her co-wives. Therefore, Kashyapa was supposed to satisfy his bona fide wife. Text 12. Barthar tyap toru mananam lokan avishat he yashah patir bhavad vido yasam prajaya nanujayate. A woman is honored in the world by the benediction of her husband, and a husband like you will become famous by having children because you are meant for the expansion of living entities. No, Kashyapa was one of the Prajapatis, and no, it is a service also for him to expand the population. Purport. According to Rishabhadev, one should not become a father or mother unless one is confident that he can beget children whom he can deliver from the clutches of birth and death. Human life is the only opportunity to get out of the material scene, which is full of miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. Every human being should be given the opportunity to take advantage of his human form of life, and a father like Kashyapa is supposed to beget good children for the purpose of liberation. So, text 13. Pura pitano bhagavan daksho duhitrivatsalah kam vrinita varam vatsa iti apricchata na pratak. Okay. In days long ago, our father, the most opulent Daksha, who was affectionate to his daughters, asked each of us separately, whom would we would prefer to select as our husband? Purport. It appears from this verse that free selection of a husband was allowed by the father, but not by free association. The daughters were asked separately to submit their selection of a husband who was famous for his acts and personality. The ultimate selection depends on the choice of the father. Okay. Text 14. सविदित्ता विदित्वात्मजानाम्नो भवां सन्तान भावनः त्रयोदशा ददातासां यास्ते शीलम् अनुव्रताः. Our our well-wishing father Daksha, after knowing our intentions, handed over 13 of his daughters unto you. And since then, we have all been faithful. No? So, wholesale marriage. Daksha got. And purport. Generally, the daughters were too shy to express their opinion before their father, but the father would accept the daughter's intentions through someone else, such as a grandmother to whom the grandchildren had free access. King Daksha collected the opinions of his daughters and thus handed over 13 to Kashyapa. Every one of Diti's sisters was a mother of children. Therefore, since she was equally faithful to the same husband, why should she remain without children? No. Text 15. Atame kuru kalayanam kamam kamalalochana artopa sarpanam bhuman amoham hi mahiyasi. O lotus-eyed one, kindly bless me by fulfilling my desire. When someone in distress approaches a great person, his pleas should never go in vain. Purport. Diti knew well that her request might be rejected because of the untimely situation, but she pleaded that when there is an emergency or a distressful condition, there is no consideration of time and situation. Okay, text 16. Iti tam vira marichaha kripanam bahu bashinim Prityahanunayam vacha pravrudananga kashmalam. O hero Vidura, Diti, being thus afflicted by the contamination of lust and therefore poor and talkative, by uh, was pacified by son of Marichi in suitable words. Purport. When a man or woman is afflicted by lust or sex desire, it is to be understood as sinful contamination. Kashyapa, when engaged in his spiritual activities, but was engaged in his spiritual activities, but he did not have sufficient strength to refuse his wife, who was thus afflicted. He could have refused her with strong words expressing impossibility, but he was not as spiritually strong as Vidura. Vidura is addressed here as the hero because no one is stronger in self control than a devotee of the Lord. It appears that Kashyapa was already inclined to have sexual enjoyment with his wife, and because he was not a strong man, he tried to dissuade her only with pacifying words. You know, he's not giving strong words, he's just like mildly, pacifying. एषतेऽहं विदास्यामि प्रियं वीरु यदिच्छसि तस्याः कामं न कः कुर्यात् सिद्धिस्त्रैवर्गिकी यथा. O afflicted one, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of three perfections of liberation. No, dharma, artha, kama, no, three perfections. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It's like four purusharthas. So in that, for performing dharma, one needs a wife, and for like earning, this one also one needs a wife, and then for kama, so also one needs a wife. So it's like, he's telling you are the source of three perfections. The three perfections of liberation are religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. For a conditioned soul, the wife is considered to be the source of liberation because she offers her service to husband for his ultimate liberation. Conditional material existence is based on sense gratification, and if someone has the good fortune to get a good wife, he is helped by the wife in all respects. If one is disturbed in his conditional life, he becomes more and more entangled in material contamination. A faithful wife is supposed to cooperate with her husband in fulfilling all material desires so that he can then become comfortable and execute spiritual activities for the perfection of life. If, however, the husband is progressive in spiritual advancement, the wife undoubtedly shares in his activities, and thus both the wife and the husband profit in spiritual perfection. So that means, if the husband is like, attains perfection, so automatically the wife also gets the same result as the husband is getting. So it is essential, therefore, that girls as well as the boys be trained to discharge spiritual duties so that at the time of cooperation, both will be benefited. The training of the boy is brahmacharya and the training of the girl is chastity. A faithful wife and spiritually trained brahmachari are a good combination for advancement of human mission. Okay, text 18. Sarvashraman, Sarvashraman upadaya swashramena kalatravan vyasana navam atyeti jalayanir yatarnavam. As one can cross over the ocean with sea-going vessels, one can cross the dangerous situation of the material ocean by living with a wife. Okay. There are four social orders for cooperation in the endeavor for liberation, for material existence. The orders of brahmacharya or pious student life, household life with a wife, and retired life and renounced life all depend for successful advancement on the householder who lives with a wife. Because like a brahmachari requires some like food to eat, who will give? Householder will give. And vanaprastha and sannyasi, like they also want something to eat. Householder is the one who's producing all these things, right? Okay, this cooperation is essential for the proper functioning of the institution of four social order and the four spiritual orders of life. The Vedic Varnashrama system is generally known as the caste system. The man who lives with a wife has a great responsibility in maintaining the members of other social orders, the brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. Except for the grahasthas or the householders, everyone is supposed to engage in spiritual advancement of life, and therefore the brahmachari, the vanaprastha, and sannyasi have very little time to earn a livelihood. They therefore collect alms from grahastha, and thus they secure the bare necessities of life and cultivate spiritual understanding. By helping the other three sections of society cultivate spiritual values, the householder also makes advancement in spiritual life. Ultimately, every member of society automatically becomes spiritually advanced and easily crosses the ocean of Nishayans. Hari Hari. Okay, so we will see the further in the next session tomorrow. So it is like a very nice, instructive story. This is, and many wonderful instructions will come in this like particular pastime. So let's hear them, as it comes. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.